In this video, we're going to focus on how we can add performance arrows like these here nicely at the very top. And of course, it will calculate based on if something is declining, it's equal, or there's growth indicated. So let's start to look at how to do this. First of all, make sure you have the border template, which you can find here on chartjs 3.com getting started. Once you're on here, scroll down and copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to get the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page, and of course, got a question, put it on the Discord channel here. All the links are in the description box. So first of all, what we want to do here is to create a plugin, but we want to put these performance arrows at the very top. To do this, I need some space here. So what I'm going to do here on the Y scale, I say comma, put in grace, and just say here maybe one tick. And as you can see here, that should be more than enough. You can play around with that, adding more ticks, adding more values, whatever you want. You can go and explore that. So what I'm going to do now is add in the plugins, so comma, plugins, and I'm going to say here vertical performance arrows, anything you want. So that will be the plugin. Then we're going to say here, that will be the block. So it's a constant, this equals ID of the same name. And then what I want to do here is I want to draw this after the data sets has been drawn. There's a chart, arcs, and plugin options. Once we did this, we can start to work on drawing the arrow. So what we need to do here is we have to make sure we understand the structure of this. So we want to first have the position of it. Well, let's do this first. Constant equals chart. And what I'm going to do here, this is an object destructuring, say the CTX, and what do I need more? Maybe the data. We might need the chart area. And then we can say here the top position would be very useful, scale, and then we can say here the X and Y. There we are. I realize that maybe we can even remove this, but we'll see later on. Doesn't matter too much. So then I'm going to say ctx.save to save all variables above. And then I'm going to say ctx.begin path. I want to create a shape. This shape is independent of anything else. So what I'm going to say here, ctx.fill style, and there will be the color red because we're going to make the arrow basically going down, negative down. So to do that, and then I realize we still have to make a data set in here. What I'm going to do, copy all of this, just add in here a second data set. I totally forgot that one, and then just have some random numbers here, 3 or 2, that's fine. Well, let's make that 3 symbolic numbers. All right, so we're going to get this there. Let's remove that one and just say here the black cells. All right, there we are. So we have two different charts here, or data sets, comparing each other. So what we want to do first is create the chart that is in a negative position. So if we have a decline from Tuesday colored to black, that would be a comparison which is a decline. Then we should have an arrow pointing down. To do that, we have here the red already. So then what I'm going to do here is get the coordinates. So what I want to do here is I say ctx.move to, and then we need the x and y coordinates. So if we're going to create an arrow pointing down, we basically need the starting point here at the center, pointing down, and then we go gradually to the left, up, and then we go to the right side, up, and then down again. That's basically the 3 points that you want to connect. So to do that, I need to be in the center here of this. So luckily we can get that immediately because we have here the X scale. So we say X, then dot get pixel for value. And then what I want to do here is I want the value of index 0, which is basically this one here, the Monday. That's just the data set or data point position at the center of that. For the Y, what I need to be here is basically at the top position. We can say top, but we could do maybe something else as well, but I think top for now is fine. There are two options here, but probably top is more than sufficient. So we're going to grab the top here. What I want to do next now is because right now, if I have this, I would be just at the very top here. that's all fine, but that's not the position I need to be. I need to be slightly down. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make this about 15 pixels. So these are 15 pixels going down. That will be the starting point. Then say here, plus 15 pixels. So once we did that, we have the first line. Then we're going to say here ctx.line 2. And then what we need to do is very similar structuring here, but let's look at it. So we have here this. We still want to be here, but we want to go now up and then left. Since this is 15 pixels up, I want to make every corner 15 pixels. So going up here, we don't have to remove do a plus. But for this here, I need to go 7.5 pixels to the left. And the reason why is because later on we go also 7.5 pixels to the right, or at least 15 from this point on. So we're going to say here minus 7.5. Once we did that, I'm going to copy this, then put another one here, and then here we say just plus. Why? Because the center is 0. So this to 0 is 7.5, and then from 0 to plus 7.5 is 15. So we have this here. Once we did this, I'm going to say I want to close the shape, close path. Then we close the path, and then we're going to say ctx.fill. So we fill this shape with a background color. Save, refresh, there we are. And if I would remove one at a time, you will see the difference what we did. Oh, of course, we cannot do that because it should be then a stroke style. If I do a stroke, it would be probably visible. But of course, let me just show you this here. If I hide this one, you will see where we were. Then it goes here to that, and this one was the closed path. Let's hide that one. If I do this, you can see here the 1, 2, 3 points, and then we have the closed path that closes everything. Alright, that's enough of the logic here. We don't want to be an expert in the canvas. We just want to have these items drawn. So once we have this, I want to loop through all of these others as well. So for this, of course, this is only one. What if I want to have one that is a green one pointing up, that we have growth? To do that, well, we have to create another triangle, but we're going to build a function out of this here. So we say here function, and we're going to say here draw arrow or triangle. And what I need here is basically a few things. I'm going to grab all of these here, excluding the save. So I'm going to cut this out, put it in there. So what I know here, this color here should be a color. Then what I need here is basically the index position. So you can just say here the index or position X. And then here we have top plus 15, etc., etc. I think these here are probably quite suitable. And I think we don't even have to do anything else for that one. Or maybe we do, I realize. We do, sorry. Because later on we need to change this if I want a triangle which is rotated. So what we'll have to do here probably, let's say here, I guess we need the Y start and then the Y end. It's exactly the same. So what I'm going to do now is we have this. Let's copy all of this and see if we can get now something here. Color. We'll make this red for now. Index will be 0. And then this here, the Y start is probably 15. And then we have here 7.5. So we do this here, and this should then afterwards calculate nicely. So what I'm going to do here, Y start, or that's not even, this is Y start. But I realize that this is X, I guess X start. Let's call it X start. And I'm going to say here and here. Alright, color, put it in there. Index, put it in there. Save, refresh. There we are. That looks phenomenal. So what I could do now is if I want something else, I now want a green one. I want it upside down. So how are we going to work on that? So it's green here. There we are. But let's make this rotated. To rotate that, what I need to do here is basically the top, or at least here, this was the plus 15 pixels. I need that now instead of plus, or the starting point. This point should be at the very top. So that will mean here plus 0 instead of 15. That's index we maintain, but this one here is the Y start. Let's say here 0. If I save this, refresh, as you can see here, now it doesn't work yet because we need to do something more. So what do we need to do more here is the x start is, I guess in this case 7.5. Well, we have to go down and then minus 7.5. So this here needs to be, alright, so that would be, hold on, let me double check. Alright, I'm getting slightly confused. This here was not allowed to be adjusted in my opinion. This should be always 7.5. Because this structure for triangle is always the same. The only thing I need to have here is the proper position, if I'm not mistaken, for this. And then maybe this here should be y end. That makes more sense. And then here it is. Could be plus whatever y end is. Going to grab that, put that back. Let's see here what I need to do. Let's save this. And then refresh. Alright. What I want to do here is just say this should be 0. I guess that's why I'm getting confused. There we are. If I change this. So if I change that, save that, refresh, there we are. Alright, that makes all sense. I don't know how I managed to mistake in this. Anyway, we have these all working. If I say here index 1, save these, put them all both, there we are. So now we have this working, so we can create basically our for each loop. We can run through this function and check if which one is up, down, or equal. Equal, we still have to build. But let's build our for each loop first. So what I'm going to say here, I'm just going to the data object. That is basically this one here, data.data sets, and then index 0.data. And then what I want to do here, I say here for each loop, and then for every data point, I want to have the index, function arrow expression, put in here, and in here, I need to compare two things. Number one, I want to see if the data point, which is basically the one from dataset index 0, because we have here index 0, is larger, smaller, or equal to the data point of index 1. That's basically the comparison. So what I'm going to do here is if data point is bigger than, let's grab this, data point dataset index number 0, or not even 0, we're going to say based on the index. If this is the case, what I would like to do is the following then. So that would mean here that this dataset 0, which is basically the Monday, or this red one, would be bigger than black, then we have a decline. So in that case, if we have that, I would like to grab this red arrow here and put that in there. This was an index, so we can just say index. Then we say else if the data point, or like, let's grab this one as well, but instead of bigger, it is this one is smaller than that, which indicate growth. In that case, I want the green one. Let's copy this, put it in there, and then say here again index, because that's the index as we have it here. Finally here, and then else if, just do nothing for now. Else, nothing. Alright, let's save, refresh, there we are. It starts to recognize the position, and if I change some of my numbers here, let's make this 1, and let's make this 20, save, refresh. There we are, you can see here it's starting to change nicely, but we have the equals, and the equals symbol is a rectangle that we're going to build now. So what I'm going to do now is create a new function here. Function, draw rectangle. And when we draw the rectangle, what I'm going to do here is, well, we have to see what we need. First of all, we know we'll probably need the color. So I can just grab that one, or we're just going to grab these. And that will be the color, whatever this color will be. Then, what I want to do here is, what are we going to draw? Well, we're going to draw basically a rectangle shape, but we want to position it in the center here. Centering nicely in the center, but also the position should be just center of this triangle like that here. So we have to calculate, we know we have about 15 pixels. So the triangle is 15 pixels, so in the very center we can calculate how to position that then. So we're going to say first of all ctx.move to, and we just draw the shape. And this shape is slightly easier because basically what we need here is the x-coordinate, which is whatever the index is. It is automatically in the center here, but we have to move it a bit here to draw that rectangle shape. So we're going to say here, if I know it's about, I want to make it also, let's say, 15 pixels. So we're going to move this minus 7.5. Then what I want to do here is for the y value here, we can even say here the top, or just get the top here, plus, if I'm not mistaken, just the same amount of pixels, 7.5 or negative 7.5. Well, no, it's plus, my bad, 7.5. Let's do that here. Sorry, I'm getting slightly confused. Then later on we just have a visual, because that will be easier. Then what I want to do is I want to have a same value, line 2. But here, instead of going from the left side, I'm going to say plus, so I'm going to 15 pixels to the right. Well, I keep this as a straight line. Then, well, what we can do here is just the rectangle. You can draw that here as well, so you can see it. I'm going to say this will be equal to blue. So we have a blue shape here. I'll say here ctx dot stroke, so you can see these lines. Save. Alright, that doesn't work at all. Or else rectangle blue, what is exactly the mistake? Index is not defined. Yes, that makes sense, of course. Then I'm going to say here, index, comma, index, save. There we are. Alright, we're getting now a straight line. I want to go down maybe 2.5 pixels or 5 pixels in total. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to grab this, put another one here. We'll say this will be same, this will be same, but this must go down with 2.5 pixels. So here's the question. Well, we are now in the center. We want to go down or up if this will be 5 pixels in thickness. So we need to go 2.5 pixels. So officially we should be at 10 and this should be at 5 then. So we have the center here. So I'll just make this 10 for now. Alright, then I'm going to say this must be 5 because we want to have it more precision in the center. Alright, that looks better. Then we're going to the right side, and the right side we just copy this again, do the same logic, but here we're just going to say minus, save, there we are. And then finally we close this by saying ctx.close path. There we are, save, refresh. There we are. Now we have this shape. Let's fill it up. We're going to say fill styles color, and then we're going to say instead of stroke, we just say fill, save. There we are. Now it's blue and nicely in the center. Absolutely phenomenal. And that's basically it, because these are just default values that we don't have to change. But let's see here if I make this 3, 2, 3. Well, let's leave it like that, and then we get the other one here. 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, and then again 3. Say refresh. There we are. We get everything now nicely in the center. It looks absolutely phenomenal. And that's basically it.